All right. Welcome into the Hoops Rehab Show. Eric, how you doing?
I'm good.
I see.
For those in the audio, I got my giveaway shirt on from Saturday's game on.
Okay, from the playoff game. I see you.
Yep.
All right, so the Lakers are up 2-0 when they were heavy dogs going into the series with Luka and AR out. LeBron has turned back the clock. JJ's coaching up a storm. The rest of the team is figuring out how to play together. And the Lakers are going to Houston up 2-0. We also got Victor Wembanyama going down with a nasty fall. When you're 7'4" and you hit the ground like that, nobody ever wants to see that. So we're going to talk about the fallout from that because obviously they lost to Portland as well. You had the Sixers upset Boston. So you had a couple different things happen tonight. We're going to get into all that. But Eric, you ready to get the show cracking?
Let's do it. Saturday night for sure. A lot to cover.
So let's just start with number one, right? Kevin Durant was out the first game, and it was kind of last couple of days we were going over whether or not he's going to play, how is he going to look, is he going to risk it? He looked fine out there, right? He came out, he was 4 for 4, had 11 points in the first quarter, had 21 in the first half, looked like the old KD. However, we got a guy named Marcus Smart, and he defended the shit out of KD in the second half, held him to 2 points, and that's what pretty much got the Lakers to victory in the second half. What did you see this whole game, Eric, and what are your thoughts on the Lakers' performance?
Man, it was a lot to get into, but first off, man, this is just fun. It's like kind of I know with the Lakers, like, I mean, watching the game, believe me, I'm kind of like a nervous wreck. So I still have been, but I'm just haven't been as tight as years past where it's just like play loose, be as a fan, you just kind of watch loosely and just let's see what happens. And that's kind of what it's been to start off. I think coming into the series, I think we were kind of on that, like, just stretch this series out. Hopefully the reinforcements come, just win one of those 2 first home games and kind of go from there. But after the results of game 1, after obviously hearing KD might not be 100%, and then ultimately finally hearing that there's a good chance that Luka will not come back this series, I kind of thought to myself, you know what, if Lakers are going to win the series, they got to get tonight too. I think you talked about it. If it goes 1-1, you lose and you're down 2-1, you're in big trouble going into game 4. So before we kind of break it down, it was obviously anytime you can go up 2-0 was huge. But when you're an underdog, when you're undermanned, I think it's kind of, you got to really win those first 2 home games. You're typically, if you're undermanned and an underdog, you normally don't have home court advantage, but obviously Lakers earned that this season. But yeah, it was just an amazing game overall. KD did start off hot, didn't finish so hot because of Marcus Smart and team.
Yeah, I mean, I think he got in a rhythm early, right? And that was kind of part of it. Helped Houston early on. But yeah, in the second half, Marcus Smart was all over him. The Lakers started double teaming him as well in the second half, which I think helped a lot. Forced the ball out of his hand, forced it into Sengun, forced it into Jabari Smith, forced it into a lot of people. And they kind of said, hey, we're not going to let KD beat us. And that was probably the right strategy. Look, the Lakers defense in the playoffs so far have not allowed over 100 points. We're almost taking it back to the 90s right now. And we've been talking about their defense all season, about how bad they are, how they're not able to get things going like they were previous seasons, I would say. But they have stepped up big time. And this is without Luka and without AR. And I will say one thing that kind of, like, not that, you never want to lose Luka and AR, but, you're having Marcus Smart come back. You have Kennard, who's playing super well. So you're going to have guys that are stepping up. Rui has stepped up his game big time. Guys that were, like, not forgotten about, but they were, like, more of a side piece and now become a main attraction. And it's been helping.
Someone's excited.
Had some dishes fall right now. So
Lakers won. It's okay. We don't got to start throwing dishes everywhere. Good.
It's pretty much a celebration dish throw right now. So, but it's been going really well. Love what we're seeing out of the team. Now, the best thing that you get out of this is you get to extend the timeline of Luka and AR as long as possible.
Yeah.
If you go into Houston, I told you previously, game 2 was like almost must win. They have to go up 2-0. Go to 1-1, I think almost the series would be like over, especially not having Luka and AR.
Yeah.
Now you go into game 3. Again, it's a must win because you want to get the series over with so you can rest your guys and be prepared for the next series, which is likely against OKC.
Yeah. As we just kind of talked about, it was a must win. Obviously, maybe Houston, I don't know if they felt it was a must win or not. Sometimes it's not really when you're going home, but I would imagine the last thing Houston wanted was to give these guys a bunch of confidence, and they obviously have a bunch of confidence. And so they're defending the hell out of the ball. In the playoffs, I mean, as we know, I think the scores tend to kind of come down a bit. And I think it's just simply because people try harder. I think every possession is big. And when you have NBA players that actually try on defense, you're going to have lower scoring games. But that being said, though, there were still some, scores in the hundreds across the league, and Lakers have held Houston, as you mentioned, both times under 100.
Sure.
And so it starts there. We're never going to sit here and say that the Lakers are better than without Austin Reeves and Luka. Obviously, to do the things that they want to do, they need those guys. But what I will say is, from a defensive scheme, I think there's spots where guys are doing things that maybe Luka and Austin wouldn't be able to do on the defensive end. Again, we need them, obviously. Yeah. If it was any other team other than Houston, it could be a different story. Don't get me wrong. But it's just something that I was kind of seeing. You're seeing some guys that typically don't get a lot of minutes that are just out there playing loose and free. And it obviously shows. We do have to take it back to those last 2 games against Houston where they kind of did the same thing to Durant. And that was with obviously Luka and Austin, where they double teamed him. They frustrated him.
Yeah.
Obviously, at this point, Houston hasn't quite figured out a solution for that.
Yeah.
And so now they got a couple days to obviously try to figure that out.
Yeah. And it reminded me of that game when they were in Houston, and I think Durant ended up having the same thing, like 2 points in the second half, or had 0 in the first second, or might have got like 1 free throw.
Something like that. Yeah.
Same type of defense on him with Smart on him. And another thing is, one of our people are commenting on the show, KD had 9 turnovers, right? So he got super flustered. I think in the second half too, that knee can tighten up, and I felt like he wasn't as athletic and as nimble as he was in the first half, and that makes more sense based on his injury. He warmed up, felt good, kept it warm, and then you go into halftime and you're in the locker room, sit for a little bit. Well, I'm sure he probably rode the bike at least, but it's not a game speed. Come back in the second half, and you just probably don't feel as confident as confident with your body as he normally would be. So
it's definitely something to think about, because he probably had a little bit of adrenaline in the beginning of the game. He got to his spots, hit 4 shots, but during shoot around, during warm-ups, you don't have a pest like Marcus Smart on your ass, right? For 48 minutes or 42 minutes, however long Kevin Durant played. And so I think that's the difference. Obviously, KD is all-world, Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. So I'm pretty sure he's going to probably figure it out. But, hey, Lakers, there's 5 games left technically. Lakers just got to get 2 of them. Obviously, as you said, it's better to end this as quick as possible. I think there's nobody that would complain about that here on our side, at least. But it's a numbers game, right? And the more Lakers win, the more pressure it gets put on Houston. Now, obviously, all the pressure in the world is on Houston to get game 3. And I just hope Lakers are a little bit greedy and go in and try to handle business and get one of those in Houston.
Yeah, and Houston's a good team. And I think when you got a good team down on the ropes, you got their star players kind of banged up. Obviously, our star players are banged up as well. So you can't just say, it's just KD. If a KD was healthy, the series would be different. When we have 2 guys that were all worldly and we don't have them. So we just basically have LeBron and a bunch of guys that are stepping up. But to me, it's Luke Kennard, man. That guy.
We haven't said his name yet.
Let me tell you something. Problem is, what he's doing right now is going to cost the Lakers in the offseason because your boy is making some money right now. And he's showing that he's more than just a shooter. He can do it all on the court. He can even dribble the ball, handle the ball. Has it just been playing? Like I said, I keep saying this. Like he plays better defense than I ever thought he did.
Yeah.
I thought he was just more of a 10 to 15 minute come off the bench, shoot a bunch of threes, and kind of get off. But this dude is scrappy. He gets into it on the defensive end as well. He can switch on the screens, switch on the people, and he doesn't back down. And so you got to love it. I hope that we can find a way to keep him, however it works out financially. But he has definitely made himself some money.
Yeah, I mean, he is obviously even more than impressed. I have followed him a little bit, around the league, and I can't say I've watched a ton of him. And I think there's some people that can say they probably saw that at Duke and maybe some spots that he's been in with Detroit, maybe with the Clippers. But yeah, it's tough because obviously when you get those two guys back, right, things kind of fall back into place. And I just hope somehow, some way, if Lakers are fortunate to move on and we get a healthy team back, that they can still get some of that from him. I hope it's not one of these things where it just goes back to kind of what he was, which wasn't bad. But I think it's pretty cool, like you said, that this is a guy that they could depend on to be in the last 4 or 5 minutes of a game, right? If they need some offense and defense. And sure, he was up against Amen Thompson, who was like trying to get like in his grill, in his spots. He made a couple tough turnovers, like not getting across the court in 8 seconds and then a backcourt. And so little things like that, right? I guess it's going to happen, but he's got to be a little bit more aware of that. But I didn't think he was going to have 20 plus game points again tonight, and he did. 3 for 6 from 3, 4 from 4 for the free throw line. Super efficient. I don't know about you, but every time he shoots the ball, I'm like, I just think it's going to go in, right?
Yeah, every time. Like you have so much confidence in his shot, right? And when he misses, you're just shocked. And he takes good shots. He's never really taken a bad shot, right? So that's why his percentage is so high. But it's awesome to see what he's doing. And then tonight, we had Jackson Hayes kind of step up as their big man, right? As long as you have one of the two, Aiden, Jackson Hayes, kind of playing that role, playing against their bigs, I think that is a great thing, right? To be able to go interchangeable with those two and to have that understanding of, all right, we need to get the job done. Doesn't matter if you're playing right now or the other one's playing. Yeah.
I think, we were talking about it before we got on. There's going to be games. Hopefully they both can produce, but if it's one of the two, then we just got to go with which one is doing well and finish the game with them. Game 1 was Aiden, and game 2 was Jackson Hayes, and let's see who kind of takes us to the promised land in game 3. And so we'll kind of see. And then obviously, before getting to the next topic, I know we haven't even brought up Mr. LBJ's name, but he was obviously took 20 shots as he was actually a little bit more high volume today. But man, I know we've kind of gone back and forth this year about him a little bit, but there's not much we can say other than a lot of positivity right now. And the shit he's doing is just crazy.
I think it was Grant Hill that said the stat. He had, 94 dunks on the season in his 23rd season. In his rookie year, he had 21. He had 91. He had more dunks in his 23rd season than his rookie year, his 18-year-old rookie year.
Did I hear them say that? Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I've never heard that stat. And when Grant Hill said it, I'm like flabbergasted. Like, this is ridiculous. When he went down, he dove down the paint and did a little reverse, came through in the second half, had another dunk. I mean, he's being aggressive. There was a point in the second quarter where he made a point to start posting up guys. Like, he was literally just backing up guys for like 4 possessions, right? It was kind of in that funk where the Lakers, Houston went on a 14-0 run, Lakers turned the ball 4 times in a row, and then after that, LeBron just kind of settled it down and went into the post. He knows when to pick his spots. Tonight, he knew that he had to be a little bit more aggressive. KD was back, right? So they knew they were going to get a little bit more offensive points, and you got that in the first half. So LeBron took a little bit more shots in the first half. But But other than that, man, he is doing stuff that will never be done again. I know it's cliche to say it. I just don't know how anybody will ever top what he's doing. And if he wins this series alone without Luka and AR, that alone is ridiculous. Number one.
Yeah, it's big, yeah.
And if somehow this team gets to the finals, and like I said, somehow wins the championship, he will go down as the greatest player ever to play this game.
Yeah. Long way to go, but it'd be hard to argue that. Obviously, depending on how everything goes, but yeah, it's been tremendous, and they got to do definitely something about the last 6 minutes of the second quarter. Both games have pretty much mirrored each other, and you know you kind of have those. It's a game of runs; it's going to happen, but sometimes those kind of things kind of come back and bite you in the ass. So they didn't tonight and the other night, so that's something they just kind of have to clean up. But I also know that because they're so undermanned, not everybody could play 48 minutes. So there's going to be times where it's just like a piece together, right? Lineup, and you kind of got to just make the best of it. But
for sure,
hey, they're up 2-0, and that's all that matters.
All right, 2-0 going to Houston. Try to get it a win in Game 3 on Friday.
Yes,
all right, so some huge news happened in the San Antonio Portland game where Victor Wembanyama, Wemby, went down hard. I mean, he's 7'4", and you think about his size, how tall he is, for his head to hit the ground, it caused immediate concussion. Unfortunately, you could tell when he pretty much closed his eyes and looked like he was asleep on the court. You can tell it was a concussion. He kind of got up and then sprinted. You kind of got a little worried right there because he not that he freaked out, but he was just like, he got up and was like, no, I'm good, and then just kind of sprinted out. And you're like,
probably
man,
came to a little bit, and then
and it was kind of like scary and jarring a little bit. Now, man, I know there's going to be reports on how long he's going to be out. The NBA's protocol is that you got to at least be in the protocol essentially like 48 hours before Friday. You can even be cleared at all. I'm going to tell you guys right now, 48 hours is not going to be a time enough for him to play.
Okay.
If anybody has ever suffered a concussion, typically stuff can last for weeks, right? I know these players get cleared earlier and things like that, but I'll be 100% shocked if he's not out at least 7 to 10 days. At least gives it a week, right? Because there's a lot of sensitivity that happens. There's light sensitivity, you have headaches, blurred vision. You got a lot of things going on, and this is not something to play with. Obviously, he's their superstar. He's the league superstar as well, the face of the league. Likely, they're not going to rush him back in this thing just to get into the playoffs in the first round, right?
Oh yeah. No.
You think about football; they're automatically out a week now, right?
Yeah.
You can argue football is a physical sport where you're going to contact your head again in that game, so you definitely don't want them to play. However, even in basketball, you're banging against big guys, you're banging against bodies, you're jarring your head still, right? You can't do that in 48 hours. So I just don't want to really see that like out there. Oh yeah, the protocol says 48 hours.
Yeah,
so
that's
good.
That's
like
what's out there right now. You know,
that's not the expectation. Like to me, the minimum is 7 to 10 days, and that puts him back at a minimum at Game 5 if he's lucky. So for the most part, now that the series 1-1, he's going to miss a big chunk of this series, right? And if he were to come back for maybe possible like a Game 6, if they were there, like if it got to that point, depending on what goes on in the series,
I probably will.
You probably will, right? If it's 1-1, likely Portland will at least go 1-1 in Portland. And then kind of come back to San Antonio for that Game 5, pivotal Game 5. So what were your thoughts on the injury and then kind of what happened in the game with the Spurs in Portland?
Tough one, tough blow. I think if it were a lot of other people, it would be kind of maybe the player would, if they were cleared, they might come back sooner. But with Wemby, there's a lot of years to go. Obviously, they don't want to take any great season for granted, and they're going to go for it this season. But if it's at the risk of Wemby, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, it is talked about across the league about the 48 hours. We know they play Friday. We know the season is not make or break on Friday, so I think that is big. But in terms of the series, I think I tweeted. So I think, Portland, before Portland won, I said this is a big story, but I think Portland obviously has to win this game and to make it a big story, and that they did. San Antonio was up about 14 with 8 minutes left, and I kind of thought, man, San Antonio, they had some experience without Wemby. Obviously, played pretty decent. I remember the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament against the Lakers was without Wemby, and they beat the Lakers pretty handily. So I knew it was going to be tough, but yeah, I always thought Portland was going to be not that they would win the series, but I thought it was going to be a tough series, 5 or 6 tough games. But now with Wemby out, I mean, shoot, yeah, you just never know, because Portland is young, they're long, man, not really young in terms of Jrue Holiday, but he is something else.
All world,
him and Scoot Henderson, I think, won him that game down the stretch tonight.
Yeah. And, I mean, we thought about it. We talked about it. I thought Portland would just give them a tough series in general, right? Like, it's like they're physical. Like you said, they're long, and they have Jrue Holiday. And you texted me kind of today going into it, like, what do you think of Jrue Holiday? Is he a Hall of Famer? And that's like one of those questions where you just go like, damn, that's such a hard question, because he's made one All-Star, I would say, or I can't remember if he's made. I feel like he made one All-Star game. But even whereas he's obviously won a championship, he's won an Olympic medal, a gold medal. He's definitely gotten some all defensive teams and has been the glue on most of these teams. He's won 2 championships, right?
Yeah, 2 championships, 2 All-Star games, 2 chips, 2 All-Star games, and I think a gold medal.
Yeah.
And so definitely some accolades, but obviously, like, to me, when I think of a Hall of Famer, you're probably at one point, or at least for like 4 or 5 years, you're like best player on your team or second best player on your team, things like that. But he's just either making it a case for just like an awesome, NBA career. Yeah. If you have somebody like him in there, maybe you got to put like a Robert Horry in, right? Just in terms of accolades, right? I mean, the 7 championships itself, not to go down that rabbit hole, but if it's not Hall of Fame, it is obviously an amazing, just solid whatever team he's on, they're better type of career,
Yeah, for sure. And like, it's crazy to think like Portland's getting back Dame next year, right? Yeah. Like, I don't think they were supposed to be here. And when you look at the team, they have a ton of talent, right? So they're going to have a pretty good team next year. I mean, I don't know what that means for like Jrue and things like that, kind of like, because they'll have some repetitive positions like Scoot, Jrue, and then Dame. And you can kind of rotate those guards if you wanted to and kind of start 2 of them together. But it's going to be really interesting to see what they're like next year. And shit, Eric, they're going to have a major chance in the series. I know San Antonio has been used to playing without Wemby at times because they've had to, right? He's had the calf strain. He has had the rib stuff. He's had a couple injuries here and there. Last year, they played without him too when he had the DVT. So they've learned to play without him. But you can't replace the defensive MVP. You can't replace the unanimous defensive player of the year. You can't replace his offensive talent. And this levels the playing field for Portland. And to go back to the Rose Garden, is it still called the Rose Garden?
I don't know, actually.
Because now I'm dating myself. Because
I'm thinking like the Rose Garden, like back in the day. Like
it's definitely not called the Rose Garden, because I went up to Portland to visit my sister, and it's definitely not the Rose Garden.
But it's going to be rocking that Rose Garden, I'm sure, whatever it's called now.
But we all know how it is in Portland. Man, fans get cracking out there, man. So, like, it's going to be a tough crowd for San Antonio to go into without Wemby. And they're likely going to have to do that for at least 2 more games.
Yeah.
So they got to win. This is where your coach gets paid the big bucks, right? Like, I know he doesn't have a big contract yet, but Mitch Johnson has to prove why they hired him and why he's a good coach and why they had all those wins this year. So we'll see. I'm kind of mixed on that series. I can see it going 1-1 in Portland and just coming back 2-2, and then that 5 game being so pivotal. Like, it'd pretty much whoever wins that will win the series. But who would have thought, Eric? We just talked about this less than 24 hours ago, Eric. who are the healthiest teams in the league? Spurs, OKC, Boston. You can knock the Spurs off right now.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes in the playoffs. It takes one injury, it takes one hamstring, it takes one concussion, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. By the way, the Rose Garden is now called the Moda Center. MODA.
Yeah, that's right.
Moda
Yeah.
Center. So
Yeah.
I had to look that up.
It's just like Staples. I don't want to call it though, Eric. I don't want to do it.
I
We call
know.
it old, whatever you want to do it. I just want to say Staples. The Rose Garden.
I still call it the Great Western Forum, even though it hasn't been Great Western for a while. But yeah, to your point, with Wemby, if you kind of watch those last couple of minutes of the game tonight, there were so many plays Portland made that you're like, man, if Wemby was down there, he would have not been able to kind of get in the middle of the paint or what have you. So yeah, if Wemby's not playing, it's a toss-up series, in my opinion, just because Portland is playing good ball. They're young, like I said, they're long. I think they will just cause a lot of fits. They got some like veteran leadership, as we went over, just enough. And so, yeah, I can see the series like going 2-2 back to San Antonio for game 5 and maybe, stretching it out to 6 or 7, in which we probably weren't expecting kind of getting into it. So
for sure,
things have changed we've talked about it. Every game, it's its own entity. I mean, look at, for example, which we're going to talk about next, Boston and Philadelphia. Boston whooped on Philly game 1. You would think it's over, it's done. Wouldn't you know? Philly comes back and takes game 2 in Boston. So you never know.
It's the NBA, man. You don't know what's going to happen. These players are good. The teams are good, and they're kind of proving that. But an injury like Wemby's just deflates a team, right? So I feel like they kind of got a little deflated. Then they got a boost and kind of took a lead, and then all of a sudden they just didn't have enough down the stretch, and that's what happened, right? So going to Boston and Philly, that was probably the biggest surprise of the night as far as somebody in the win was Philly just kind of dominating Boston out there and tying the series at 1-1, right? The one thing that Philly has are young ass good guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
VJ Edgecomb, he's obviously a rookie. Tyrese Maxey, great player, a great combination of guards. And a couple years from now, they will probably be the most dynamic backcourt duo in the league. If they're not a top 3 right now, right?
Yeah, they're going to be. It's going to be good.
They're going to be really, really good. Now, you're getting a lot of production out of Paul George since he came back from the suspension. I think he's been averaging 20. He's been really solid for them. He's playing like a veteran. Right. He's playing like a guy that's been there in the playoffs, and that's positive. Now, the only thing, can you get Joel Embiid back in this series and really make a dent and feel like this is going to be a long series? Because this could be more of a aberration win, and then Boston goes in and kills them in game 3, 4, comes back and finishes in 5.
Yeah.
Or you go into game 3 and, you figure out a way, you figure out a combo of how to beat this team and you get another win, right? But we don't know the status of Joel Embiid. There hasn't been any information. We know whenever you have appendicitis and you have your appendix removed, it can be weeks recovery, right? There's last kind of superstar that I remember really having it was Joe Burrow. That was during the preseason. He was out the whole month prior to the season and then came back at the start of the season. So he at least was off about 3-4 weeks. So it's something in that range. There's no exact science to it. There's no exact timeline. It's also just how you are feeling. And Joel Embiid has been dealing with injuries all the time. And then also now more of emergency type of injuries, which is a bummer. So hopefully, it's been a couple weeks and you can kind of maybe possibly get him back at some point in the series, but we don't know.
Yeah. It's been troubles for him, obviously, the last few years with injuries, and it was kind of tough to see that it was this kind of freak thing. And with that, as you said, we've had guys like Joe Burrow miss the whole preseason, and maybe because it was a preseason, he was out. Obviously, we don't know. It's a different, obviously, position, different sport, but they're going to probably need him to go on a little bit of a run here. And they have guards that are just young, amazing, obviously. And if they're going to play like they did tonight, they're going to have a chance to win every game. And so I will add that in the kind of past few years with Boston, they have been pretty good on the road and have kind of been a little weirdly off at home. There's been a few times where they lost one of their home games and then they went and won the rest of the games, like you just mentioned, which is possible. Now, I will add that it is a different Boston team, right? They don't have that veteran leadership like a Drew Holiday, who we just talked about, obviously Al Horford, Porzingis. So it's a bunch of younger guys, and we know young guys on the road just don't typically translate like those young guys do at home.
True.
So I would say that's a little bit of a difference. Obviously, they still have the Tatum and Brown, right? And so that's probably what matters. But I think if you're Philly, you got to do what you can to try to make it 2-2 somehow, coming back to Boston. But yes, they will hopefully and eventually get Embiid. Maybe if it goes to like a game 6 or 7, he'll be able to be out there. But what kind of shape he'll be in, that's another story, right?
Yeah. Like you said, like this was a game where the others, per se, if you want to call it, on Boston, did not step up. And they usually have their players playing pretty well, like White, Pritchard, all those guys are usually stepping up. Hauser, there's usually somebody stepping up, and they just didn't do it this game. And so it was a lot of Brown and a lot of Tatum, and that was it. So you're not going to get enough points out of your team if you're playing that way. Normally they're shooting better from 3, and they shot 26%. Still shot 53s because they're never going to stop shooting threes. But
the team's going to shoot threes.
Yeah, they're going to shoot threes for days. But it's crazy because they shot, what was it, 28%?
Yeah, they still shot 50. They're still doing that?
6%, still made 13, right? So made a lot of threes, but they live and die by it. So they're going to have games where they're going to be off, and it could have just been tonight, and they go out in game 3 and they just dominate. So we don't know how it's going to be. But if you're Philly, man, you saw a lot out of VJ. I know he's dealing with some injuries too, because he's kind of was like a little banged up and went on stationary bike and just kind of dealing with things as well, but was able to step up the whole game and just really dominate, right? I mean, like to get 30 out of him is pretty damn amazing in his first playoff series. Yeah,
he was impressive. And again, they got the talent. The talent's there to get some wins. It just kind of putting it all together, being consistent. Obviously, trying to get 4 out of 7 is going to be tough. But again, with the players they have, there's going to be nights that they're going to go off, and it's going to be tough for Boston to keep up. And so, can I see him sneak another game or 2, perhaps? But I'm just happy that a lot of these series are tight. They're close.
Yeah.
The first day, right? First couple of days, it seemed like, oh man, like every game's a blowout, and why do we even have 7-game series in the first round? People were saying like, let's bring back the 5-game series and all. All the overreactions.
That always happens. Yeah.
But which I guess wouldn't be bad, but that's never going to happen. So it's pretty cool. Got a lot of 1-1s right now. Or if it's 2-0, it's still not over. Those teams get a chance to go home. And
the Toronto and Cleveland is over.
Yeah, right. What I was thinking, like all the close ones, I had Toronto in my head. I'm like,
that series is long over. I don't care. I don't even care if Toronto wins game 3. That game that's a gentleman's sweep.
It's over.
But surprisingly, the 2 series that are 2-0 right now are that series and the Lakers, which you would never have thought.
The 4 seeds, huh? Yeah.
The 4 seeds, right? And you got tomorrow. You got OKC.
Never mind.
I mean, I'll be honest and say I'll be shocked if Phoenix wins that game tomorrow. Things happen. Things can happen. So, and I'll also would be shocked if Detroit lost another game, right, and go down 2-0. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Before we get out of here, Eric, what is your prediction for Game 3? Houston and LA.
I of course want to go with the Lakers, but I think some of these role players that have been struggling for Houston are going to be a little bit notch, just a tick better at home. And I think some of these role players for the Lakers that have been real comfortable at home they're not going to play as good, and I see maybe Houston, I think, getting that one. Now, I will say this is the game 3 is the one that has the longest rest between games, so it might be the one that we need to get because the turnaround from game 3 to 4 is just one day. But just history shows us that game 3 on the road down 0-2 is just really tough to kind of get a team down 3-0. So I'm gonna have to say Houston, but I do see it, kind of being closer than one might expect.
Got it.
You,
Eric?
Ooh, don't do it to us! Don't do it to us!
Game 3 is the most important game of the series, and you know what's gonna happen, Eric? The Lakers are not playing around in this series. JJ has these boys ready to play. And they are trying to extend the season for their guys, Luka and AR. And they're going to go out with LeBron with 2 extra days of rest. And they're going to win game 3, shut out Houston, and be ready to go home after that. So I do think that is a good point that you're making, though. If they do lose game 3 and you only have 1 day of rest in between, that makes that game 4 that much tougher. And I think that's a message that you send your team. We need to
take care of business.
Not let them back in this series. We got them on the ropes. Let's finish them off. Let's put them out of the misery and put them down 3-0.
9-9.
So that's my thoughts. I think they have found something, and I think a lot of credit is due to JJ, and then obviously a lot of credit due to LeBron. Still holding it down at 41 years old in his 23rd season.
No doubt. Definitely a well-deserved couple of days of rest before they got to fly to Houston and take them on in game 3.
For sure. All right. So for Eric and I, we are out tonight. We will see you guys on Thursday with another show. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out. Go Lakers.